Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. 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 How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. שלום עליכם, סלאם עליכום. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this stage. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב
Shalom. I am Rabbi Ilana Nematoff Bressler, and I am the Associate Rabbi and Director of Kesher, our learning program K through 12 here at Temple Israel. Today we gather to remember Harvey Gosset, husband to Adrian, father to Jackie, Liz, and Michael, father-in-law to Brent, Howie, and Ashley, Poppy to Jordan, Drew, Theo, Oliver, Blake, and Sawyer, brother to Nancy and Mark, and Penny, and Shalom and Yashara, and John. Uncle, wonderful friend, businessman, writer. We come together today for Harvey to pay our respects to him and to give him the proper funeral that he deserves. And we set aside time today for ourselves to hopefully find solace in this time of sadness. We gather seeking guidance in this time of sorrow, searching for a way to say goodbye to this protective and generous man. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. God gives, God has taken away. Blessed be God's name. Death has taken our beloved Harvey. His loss leaves us saddened with tears and sorrow. Yet there is memory so strong that we will carry it with us throughout our lives. And that is what will buoy us today, our memories. The age-old words of the Jewish tradition can guide us through this challenging process of saying goodbye. We begin with the Psalms. In a moment, I will recite Psalm 23, intoned at both Christian and Jewish funerals. One reason is that death is seen as peaceful, like lying beside water in a meadow, but also because the psalm goes even deeper, invoking an image of each of us walking through the valley of a shadow of death, a valley through which we'll each emerge transformed, as each of you will be, has been, and will continue to be by Harvey's death. Another way this psalm provides meaning for us comes from Rabbi Stephen Leader. He suggests that the shadow of death can only exist in response to something else. For what is a shadow but a manifestation of light being blocked? In that way, we are reminded that light must always shine when shadows are present. Harvey's light will still shine as each of you continue to live, bringing him into the world. Psalm 23. Adonai is my shepherd, I shall not want. Adonai makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside still waters, and restores my soul. You lead me in right paths for the sake of your name. Even when I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of Adonai forever. In a moment, I'm going to offer a poem, and this poem I chose because of Harvey's love of jewelry, actually. And he wore a gold number 80 and a gold chai. And I think the sisters will explain where that comes from. But the poem is about not saying goodbye. And his kids right now are wearing that jewelry, which represents him. And his grandkids, each of them have some component of him with them. And so this poem is a reminder that each of you, family, will continue to carry him with you, that this is not goodbye. We say shalom and not goodbye, for shalom is goodbye and hello and wholeness and peace, all threaded together in one breath. And in one breath, we too say goodbye to a hand to hold, a kiss and a tight embrace. And in the same breath of shalom, we also say hello to an ocean of memories and a rush of emotion, gratitude and sorrow, tears and laughter, and trembling and fatigue, all in one breath. Loving, protective, present. These words and so many more describe Harvey Gosset, especially in how he related to his family. Before retiring, he left for work each morning at 6:30 in the morning, had a toasted bagel with cream cheese and coffee, and returned each night at 7 p.m., at which point he sat down to a family dinner. Every night, he loved his routine. But before we learn more about what made Harvey so wonderful, I want to provide a little background to give you an idea about his life. Harvey Gosset was born on November 8th, 1942, to Rebecca and Herbert, known as Eve and Teddy. It's a long story, but I promise they'll tell you if you ask. He was born in New York. He had a happy childhood and was well provided for. He loved his sisters, Penny and Nancy, who came along 4 and 8 years later. His life, though, changed dramatically when Harvey lost his father at age 13. At that point, he had to grow up quickly, becoming the man of the house, and started to take on odd jobs as often as he could around his school and sports schedule. Harvey went off to college, many different schools, and he never graduated then, as the dual challenges of taking care of his family and lacking clear guidance got in the way. After leaving school, he enlisted in the Army Reserves as a member of the military police. From there, Harvey went on to business success as he began working in the garment district. He easily transitioned to working for his wife Adrian's family business, manufacturing women's and children's sleepwear. Eventually, he took over the company with the 2 other son-in-laws, and Harvey made sure that his family lacked for nothing. And through it all, no matter what was going on at work, he made it home for dinner thanks to his meticulous planning, usually with time to stop at the gym on the way home to maintain his physical fitness. Harvey was also successful in love. During a blind date, Harvey met Adrian, where he told her on the second date that he would ask her to marry him within the year. Adrian was a little more skeptical, but he asked her to marry him, and indeed, they were married soon after. Their 3 kids were the joy of Harvey's life, followed only by his grandkids. He made time to attend everything of import, and especially loved going up to the ski house in Vermont during the winter to share his love of the sport. In terms of passions, Harvey had various ways he loved to enjoy spending his time. He loved his cars, he loved the Yankees, he loved golf and tennis. He had an incredibly dry sense of humor that often went over people's heads. He loved to write, and when he retired, he took it upon himself to complete his first bucket list item, graduating college with a degree in journalism and communications. In 2008, he walked across the stage of Queen's University in Charlotte, North Carolina, summa cum laude, the oldest graduate in his class. These are the facts of his life. So I'd like to invite his daughters up to share some more of the color of his life.
Hi. I'm going to try to get through this. Before I begin, though, I just wanted to say thank you to all our friends and family who gave their love and support to us during this journey. It means more than you know. A special thank you to my dad's caregiver of the past year, Laji, who cared for and loved my dad as if he were her own. Because of her, we were able to rest a bit easier each day. About 6 years ago, we received the awful diagnosis that Dad had Alzheimer's. What a blow to a man who was such a thinker and wordsmith. As time went by, he lost the ability to find and form words. However, he always found a way to let us know that he knew we belonged to him and that he was happy to see us. He found ways to laugh and let us know he loved us all very much. My dad was my hero. We shared a special bond that could only be known between a father and daughter. He helped shape me into the person that I am today. He taught me how to be strong and independent, but also loving and sensitive. He allowed me to follow my dreams and always supported me. He guided me when needed and stepped back when he believed I could do it on my own. From him, I learned lots of things, like how to keep a checkbook, a meticulous checkbook, otherwise I didn't get my allowance, how to write a good paper, and how to tell a joke, of which he had many. I learned how to be a good parent and a loyal friend, and so much more. Family was everything to my dad and always came first. He worked hard to provide for us, but never missed an important event or our nightly family dinners. He was generous without being extravagant, and our protector without being overbearing. No problem was too big. There was always a solution. His greatest roles in life were being a husband, dad, and especially a papi. He was a proud man, proud of who he was, all that he accomplished in life, and all of us. I think his greatest source of pride, though, were his grandchildren, who he loved fiercely. There is so much more I want to say, but I will leave it at this. My dad might have been robbed of his later years, but what life he did get to live, he lived to the fullest, and I know he would want us all to do the same. Thank you, Dad, for being the best. You were my teacher, my role model, my confidant, and my biggest fan. I will miss seeing your smile, your beautiful blue eyes, and getting lost in your big hugs. Rest in peace, Daddy. I love you.
Jackie's font was bigger than mine. I and many of us have been mourning Harvey for many years. The man we loved, he was taken from us, unfortunately, by Alzheimer's many years ago. With that, I've had the time to focus on things that made Harvey one of the most special people in my life. His humor, his honesty, his love, all things I found myself craving after so many years had gone by. Harvey's approval, his friendship, his love, the way he was a father, a husband, a friend, and a provider were all things I admired, and so many things and lessons I hope that our children have taken from the example that Harvey had set. From the early days when we met in 1994, Harvey and I became quick friends. We played a lot of golf together at Engineers Country Club. We skied together regularly at Alta, Utah. And we ate a lot of Chinese food at Hunan Taste on Northern Boulevard in Roslyn. Every Sunday night, Michael, the owner, would personally greet us and show us to our table, and we had a table. For a kid that grew up eating Jade King, which was the more affordable Chinese restaurant in Albertson, the air alone at Hunan Taste was just different. No MSG whatsoever. And I want to thank Michael Gosset's exquisite taste, because I didn't even know they had filet mignon in China. And I got to eat it every Sunday night at Hunan Taste, thanks to Michael. There are a number of phrases that whenever I hear them, even when I say them to myself, I hear them in Harvey's voice. I know I've heard Harvey say to Adrian, every single time we left the house for 30 years, he would say, "Aid, it's time to go." And I have no idea what she would answer. But Harvey's answer every time back was, "Take your time, but hurry up." For anyone ever standing in front of the television set, there was a quick remark. "Hey, you may be a pain, but you're not made out of glass." Harvey had a way of using humor to get his point across without coming across as passive-aggressive. Never once. I've missed those one-liners, and to Jackie's frustration over the years, I've made a few of them my own. I can honestly say I believe Harvey's least favorite thing to do in life was riding in a car while I was driving it. Besides Harvey himself, there's only one driver on this planet that's a close second to his driving skills, and that's Jackie. I have a stained image in my brain of watching Harvey with his seatbelt on as tight as it will go, bracing himself as I drive through corner and stop sign. He always said the same thing to me. "Hey, what's the rush?" By the way, Jackie is the true speed demon in our house. Kids, true. I'll never forget the day Jordan was born. I came out of the delivery room and I told my parents, "It's a girl." And after lots of hugs and kisses, Harvey put his arm around me and said, "Let's go for a walk." We walked down the hallway at North Shore University Hospital to their very fancy, soda machines. And he says to me, "Well, I got something for you, Brent." I'm so happy that you're going to experience the joy in life that loving a daughter and a daughter's love can give. It's the greatest there is. And then he told me, you will be the apple of her eye for the next 12 to 14 years. He paused, and he turned to look me right in the eye, and he said, then she's going to board some kind of spacecraft. It's invisible. It's going to take her to another planet. And he said, and he warned me very carefully, he said, be very careful visiting her there. Tread lightly. He said, she will return in 8 to 10 years. And you will once again be the apple of her eye. Harvey's wisdom then, and for the decades that followed, have always helped me prepare for the future ahead, and much better to understand the present we live in today. Harvey had a quiet demeanor with a dry wit. You often had to be sitting pretty close to catch his jokes and humor, and I always made sure I was nearby. As so many that loved him and appreciated him always did, they always tried to sit near Harvey at dinner. Harvey was always well-dressed and groomed. He wore the finest clothes, always had on a beautiful watch on one wrist, a beautiful bracelet on the other, his pinky ring never far away. And he was the first man I ever knew to get a manicure regularly. I thought Jackie was kidding the first time she told me, my dad will meet us. He's just getting a manicure first. So hard to believe for me back then. Still hard to believe. Harvey had a one-piece ski outfit for every day of the week. We regularly skied the bowls of Alta, Utah. He and his Bogner one-piece he chose very carefully for that day with the perfect pair of wraparound sunglasses, and me in ski pants held together with duct tape and cracked goggles down the middle. But I'll tell you, it was true love, the two of us together. Harvey was a car guy. He always had really nice sports cars and always kept his cars cleaner than the day they came out of the lot. About 20 years ago, Jackie and I were visiting Harvey and Adrian down in North Carolina, and he tossed me the keys to his 911. I had been married to Jackie at that time at least 5 or 6 years. We had one grandchild already, and one on the way, but that was the day I knew I made it. I missed Harvey's one-liners, his sage advice, his honest feedback, and quiet company. We all have for many years now. His memory is a blessing. The last few years have felt a lot like the liner Harvey delivered to me while we were celebrating our 10-year anniversary. We were all out to dinner one night, and he looked at me and he said, Brent, congratulations on 10 years of marriage. Feels no more than what? 7, 8 minutes underwater? Although you were joking then, Harvey, for you and for all of us, so many minutes have felt that way since this awful disease took hold of you. I'm glad we can all breathe a little easier now, knowing you are resting peacefully. I do know that Harvey went out with a smile on his face and a laugh in his soul. I don't think any of us could have wished anything more fitting. One of his last moments was at sunrise with a hospice nurse and Jackie and Laji by his side. And Laji, we really can't thank you enough for all the peace you gave us through this time. And as Jackie tells me this story, it went something like this. The nurse says, Harvey, it's okay. It's okay to go. God and Jesus are waiting for you. Jackie replied, sorry, we're Jewish. So the nurse replied back, I am so sorry. Harvey, I take that back. It's okay. God is waiting for you, and the guy next to him, that's Jesus. I love you, Harvey, and I'll miss you.
So much I wanted to say, but I couldn't find the words to say it. So I'm just going to share a poem that I connected to. From the time that I was small, I looked up to you. And now that I've grown up, you're the hero I never outgrew. From sitting atop giant shoulders to see above the crowd, to swinging from strong arms and hanging upside down, to running alongside my bike, to teaching strength when I would fall, to insisting I work hard in school, to loving me through it all. Growing up is often hard. Dad, your presence lit my way. You led me along life's path beside me all the way. I want to say I love you for all the years together we have had. In my heart, you are my hero. In my life, you are my dad.
Harvey and Adrian's rabbi in Charlotte at Temple Bethel, and one of his professors in the campus rabbi where he graduated from, wrote the following words. Harvey was loved deeply by the Jewish community and broader community of Charlotte. He was about the nicest guy you're ever going to meet. He graduated from Queen's University of Charlotte later in life. He might have been the oldest graduate in the history of the institution. Harvey was the epitome of a lifelong learner. He was beloved by all, from the 18-year-olds to the senior-most faculty. Harvey gave generously of his time, talent, and resources to the university, and he and Adrian were instrumental in their efforts to create the Jewish Life program on the campus. They funded a Gosset Jewish Leadership Scholarship that attracted dynamic Jewish students to the school. Harvey was engaging, lively, and always interested in everyone's lives in the world. He will be profoundly missed by all in Charlotte who knew him and loved him. That's from Rabbi Judy Schindler. As Harvey knew from attending high holiday services each year with his father-in-law, Judaism follows a particular order in which we pray. No matter what the service, whether it is Yom Kippur or a regular Sunday, we always recite the Amidah, the central standing prayer. The frame of the section remains the same, while the liturgy within the section changes depending on the time of the week or year. The familiarity of the routine of prayer, knowing what will happen in what order, is comfortable to some people, just like Harvey loved his routines so much. In Jewish tradition, we are taught to live by the commandments, our prayer service being one way we are taught to live, to not die by them. Harvey had his routine and his methodical ways for sure, until they no longer served the life that he wanted for himself and his family. And then he reinterpreted the saying to understand that he had to live his life to the fullest, recognizing, acknowledging, and honoring those around him to make sure that they received the time and attention they deserved. He made time to go skiing every weekend in the winter. He showed up to baseball and softball games. He showed up to drive Liz to the city every day in 9th grade. And he showed up to family dinners. He showed up for his mentee, Lexi, after he retired, tirelessly walking her horse as she rode. He made sure everyone was safe, taken care of, and loved. He showed up for his grandkids. Harvey was the ultimate protector. He couldn't rest unless he knew that all those he loved were themselves surrounded by those who loved them, including when it came to himself. And so, with one of his final decisions, he was so particular about making sure he had the right person at his side. Laji, like was mentioned, was his caregiver, his protector, and he knew he was safe with her. He knew that his family would not have to worry, and that gave him peace. Harvey lived life by his rules, and he knew when it was necessary to deviate from them. He always did it with a baseball cap and wraparound sunglasses. In that way, may we all learn from him. We turn now to El Malei Rachamim, the funerary prayer. It's the prayer that we recite to help guide Harvey's soul to its final resting place. I'll invite all of us to rise. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utoharim Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Hanania Ben Hezkel Yosef, Shahalach La'olamo, Ba'al Harachamim Yastirehu Beseter Knafav La'olamim, B'itzror Chayim Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachlato, Ve'anuach Bashalom Al Mishkavo, Ben Omar, Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Harvey Gosset, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let him find refuge in your eternal presence, and let his soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is his inheritance. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. We've now finished our sanctuary service to remember Harvey. At this time, I invite the grandchildren up to the front to help guide Harvey's, the casket out of the sanctuary. I would have asked the family to proceed after them and for everyone else to wait in their spots until the family is processed out. Then I'll invite you to your cars, and if you'd like to join us on the way to the cemetery, you'll get in line behind us.